Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan, and today we are back for another simple signals, trading stream, whatever we call it, charts, this or the other, okay? Now, it's been a pretty boring past however long it's been, okay? Because, you know, you might have known if you've been, you know, waiting for the streams that I haven't done one, didn't do one Friday. I was going to do it Saturday, didn't do it Saturday either, because it's... as you might see by the Bitcoin price, 95,550, okay? Have we realistically moved since Monday, basically? Last week? No. If you look at the last 7 days, technically last 7 days, the first price will also be Monday. So if we look at, you know, the very start of this red chart, I know it's very small. You can see it starts at this middle part here and kind of goes up and it goes down a bit. And then look where we are. Obviously, we've had a bit of a move down. We've moved down a bit today. But realistically, we've kind of evened out, especially over these last couple of days here during this period. We haven't really moved. It's been a really boring market. Okay, obviously we're in our range. You know, if you've seen the charts, you know, in Monday or whenever we, you know, you've been on streams, you will have seen my range and the high and the low and the equilibrium we have on Bitcoin. So it kind of makes sense. I understand why we're here, but we're kind of it's like a rock and a hard place. You know, either we come down and come below where we are right now, or we are hopefully eventually going to come up above 98, 97, whatever the high point is for Bitcoin. So it's been pretty boring. You can see last 7 days 1.8% down, 24 hour 1.53. You know, last 7 day and 24 hour are pretty equal. You know, that's obviously it's not a very good thing. You know, when over the last 7 days you've got a 1.8% move down, and on 24 hours has a 1.5% move down. So clearly we haven't done pretty much anything. Last 1 hour, aka 2 minutes ago, 0.28 percent. Am I frozen? I shouldn't be. I think I am. Maybe for you, maybe you paused the stream or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So we really haven't moved at all, which has been pretty boring. Which is why I kind of, you know, I thought, okay, you know, I'll leave a stream on Friday. I thought, you know, I'll give it another, you know, bit of time, you know, maybe a day or give it over the weekend to see what it's doing. Obviously, it is a bank holiday weekend. Obviously, I think it's also a bank holiday in America. Not exactly too sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it is. So probably isn't as much movement as we'd expect to see on a Monday open. But anyway, we have hardly moved, so that's why I kind of not really streamed, especially Bitcoin, Ethereum as well. 2,719. I can almost guarantee, you know, we haven't really done anything. Screen blank. It really shouldn't be. I don't know why it's blank for you. Maybe you've again paused the stream. I don't know. I mean, let me check actually. Could be. I don't know. It should be blank. Yeah, go on. Just yeah. I think it's you. Yeah, looks fine on my side. Anyway, yeah. So exactly, we haven't moved. Where was I? Yeah. So for example, yeah, Ethereum 2,718 really not moved since we last looked at it. Obviously, you know, over the 7 day and the 1 hour and all this, you know, we have moved upwards, and obviously you can see on the right hand side since Monday till now we have moved a bit. But again, I think we might have been 2,700 when I looked at it, and now we're 2,718. So we realistically haven't moved that much for Ethereum. Solana as well, 177. That's actually quite low. Yeah. So this is actually a low point. I think this might be one of our equilibriums for Solana. Again, Solana is obviously a different talks about it, especially lately as well, seeing as though, you know, we've had a lot of movements upwards and downs for you know, the market as a whole. And I have mentioned many times on my streams that Solana is, you know, a coin which can move, you know, in its own way. You know, oh, yeah, the timer, true. Let me set timer. There we go. You know what? I'll offset it by, like, you know, I'll make it proper. I'll just do like 57. Why is that just done 5 then? There we go. There we go. That's roughly the proper time, kind of. Anyway, Solana, you know, it can move in its own way. Obviously, especially we can see 12% down on the 7-day. You know, no surprise there for Solana. Being not that we've moved down, but being that we have actually done something over the past 7 days. Interested to see why or what areas we've bounced off. Again, it has been a while since I've looked at the charts on the stream, because again, it's been a while since I've streamed, because I thought, oh, I'll leave the stream for a bit, but obviously we'll get to see for Solana. But I think, if I remember correctly, 177 is one of the equilibriums, I think, for support for Solana. So it seems like we've just fallen down a support point and we've come down. I think we were in between a bit of a difficult area for Solana as well, if I remember correctly. I'm not exactly sure about that, but pretty sure we were in I think there was a resistance point above us, so we might have bounced off that and come down. But again, we will get into it in a second. Winners and losers, let's have a quick look. That coin, Sonic, previously FTM. Oh right, okay, no, that's okay. So it's probably like a new invigoration of it. 7.5% 24 hour, 30% 7-day, not bad. Optimism, pretty good. I mean, again, I normally look at the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, so I don't really look at those coins. I remember Jito. I remember looking at that in the video. That was a pretty bad video. Normally, when for a while I was doing analysis videos or whatever on like new coins and existing coins. Jito was one of them. I remember that being one which I didn't get right, and everyone got really mad at me. It was funny, but yeah, Jito's there. Trump, again, I think I've talked about this on the previous stream in terms of Trump and Melania, being that Trump was definitely, if you had to buy one of them, it would be Trump, but they both suck. But it did go up. I believe it actually went up quite a bit. Yeah, well, there's the pump. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I think it was like $22 or whatever. So yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of a representation coin of the individual's kind of actions. I talked about it on the stream anyway. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I do want to move on to the charts. But I do have I have drawn some of my ranges on dupe. It's been a while since I looked at dupe, so I did a new chart with a new range, and syrup, I believe it is, because I think those are two coins I think I was told to look at. So I have can I stats too? Yeah, well, it is what it is, whatever. I have done some, I think I did maybe one range on syrup. So because last stream I did look at the charts really fast, so I do have some backup in case we do look at them really fast and then need something to look at. So we do have dupe. I think dupe's a really important thing to look at as well. But anyway, I'm really just talking about nothing, so let's just actually get onto the chart. So here's Bitcoin. You may notice we have not done anything. We haven't done anything. Obviously we did have dump, massive dump actually, but again, I wasn't really worried about it because we've literally just been above equilibrium every single time we've come down. Every single time within the range of 95.3 to 94.9. We've boom, 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 boom every single time, bang, 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 just there. Okay, and I'm getting bored of it. I'm really getting bored of it at this point. Okay, because we've got this. What is this black line? Oh no, that's not black line. That's just the resistance point. Yeah, my shots are messy. I do apologize. I feel bad for the people who come onto the streams for the first time. Ever. Oh, this guy's got a stream going on. I wonder what he's looking at. I wonder why he thinks Bitcoin's doing this or the other. Comes onto the stream, looks at this, goes, "Holy crap! I'm not joining this stream." Leaves. I don't blame them. I'm not gonna lie. I do not blame them because it is a very, very messy. I don't know if I've got that line there. It is a very, very messy chart. But however, whatever, it doesn't matter. The main point is, especially on the daily, you can really see this. Let's just do a bigger range. Why not? Let's do which one do I normally do? I think I do this one. Something. Yeah. We can really see. I'm gonna delete these as well because these are kind of annoying, and we already know about this. Like, it's stupid. It's kind of getting in the way. I need to get rid of some of these ranges as well because I just cannot see anything. These would be up here, I would assume. Let's just group them and get rid of them for now. I can't bother to have them. Where is this one? This one. I just want to hide them for a bit. There we go. So we can really see what's going on. Perfect. So, yeah, obviously you can kind of see, especially as of latest, with this area down here, we've not moved. We came down. We had obviously big wicks up and down. We came up a bit, came down, came up again. Had a bounce up here, came up. Now we're bouncing down again, and assumedly going to continue to come back up us again and kind of do this whole thing. It's boring. I'm getting bored. This is boring. Okay. Now the main thing about this is is kind of obviously there's this purple line. This is obviously if you were going to come from this range down here, which obviously, you know, we did do for a bit. But regardless of that, on this range anyway in particular, we have just been in this range anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much to us. But you know, it's not a nice thing to look at in terms of, okay, we've just been doing this the entire time. However, you know, it's not a bad thing that we can do this, you know, in terms of coming down and coming up, coming down, coming up, coming down again. You know, it really kind of solidifies this area down here below us, which is, you know, roughly in between 95.6, obviously where my entry price is, and this kind of equilibrium we have on the lower time frames anyway, which we've been using really properly. Obviously my main area I do look at is going to be the higher ranges, especially, which one is it? This one. Obviously this is the main area, being, you know, these wicks down here. This is kind of the main support area on the longer time frames, if I go to the weekly, for example. So it's kind of one of those things where this was our, you know, higher low, and my assumption was we're going to do another high, you know, kind of another move upwards from here. I should probably draw this properly, actually, in terms of this movement up here, doing this higher low, and that we haven't truly had this move up yet, which is obviously what I'm waiting for. Because again, this is, I did talk about this, you know, even at the time, you know, quite a while ago, that this was on the weekly. You know, my TA was going to be on the weekly. This is going to take a longer time to happen, but I think is a lot more valuable to talk about rather than me talking about things on the 4 hour. Because I do say this on most of my streams, you know, I can just look at the 4 hour. But is it really going to help people? Obviously, as of later anyway, in terms of things not really happening too much on the weekly because we're waiting for it to play out, I do look at the 4 hours. You know, I do look at the 4 hour because, you know, it's something people can kind of look at and act upon. But my main, you know, analysis is realistically going to be on the weekly, because I do stream, you know, I don't stream every single day, because if I was streaming every single day, I wouldn't be doing Bitcoin. You know, I wouldn't be doing Bitcoin every single day, because it's kind of, you know, you can only do so much on a chart before it gets, you know, gets to a point where there's not much point of watching it. So that's why I kind of space it out on Bitcoin and Ethereum Solana and do it on the weekly. But anyway, going back to the actual charts, that, you know, on the weekly, it is this kind of, okay, we've got this higher low going on. I do think we are going to see that higher high kind of play out, you know, as of late, especially, you know, because again, you know, in terms of our low, we did have this low down here, but in terms of entering into this kind of area, especially this first moving upwards, you know, coming from the high, then it has this low. Now we're doing this higher high, and now we've got this higher low here. It's kind of this process which we've got going on, you know, on the weekly within this equilibrium, which we can't break out of yet. We are still seeing these high highs and high lows. There is this low. Obviously, it depends where you pay attention to, where we have this low, this high, and then we did a lower low, but then we did a higher high. So it's kind of this like expansion thing going on. But again, we did a higher low here, and realistically, coming from the trend upwards, it kind of comes from this high, and comes from this low, and then comes from this high. You know, it's realistically, I'd rather label it with this higher highs and higher lows here. So this is kind of my assumption, which was, okay, we've got this process going on. I think the next step isn't going to be another low after we've already had our low, you know, because this was something we talked about before it happened, because I know, KB, I know you pointed out as well, you know, everyone at the time was saying we should be longing, and I still thought we were going to go down to that 92k area. Obviously, the actual final price was about 91.3, 91.12, which was really low, but in terms of where we print at, it was about 93 or 92, whatever I said. I can't remember what I said. But so I expected this movement downwards for this kind of low, and obviously my next expectation was this high, which we're still waiting to see, because again, we are stuck below this, you know, really difficult area. Now, if I bring it back up again with less of the clutter on the screen, because again, my charts can get really cluttered, I do understand that. The main thing we're kind of seeing right now, actually, let me read the chat. For my brother, but yeah, I mean, if I was to trade something, realistically, the majority of my trades are on not the weekly. You know, I don't exactly trade the weekly. You know, it's not like I do one trade and wait for it. As of late, especially this latest trade, it has been that, because I knew, you know, we have this process to go through. You know, it's not just going to be a straight line all the way upwards to 106, but we know from our TA, obviously, I know, KB, you pointed out the Elliott waves in terms of that having great confidence with what my kind of process was, which was obviously not this, but coming up from this bounce up towards equilibrium, and on the longer term coming up towards 126 and whatnot. So there's a lot of confidence there, but that's going to happen on it's going to happen on the higher time frames, you know. So this is, you know, I don't really trade the weekly normally, but in this case I have, where I knew this is going to take a long time, because again, like I just pointed out, it wasn't a straight line all the way up to 106k. We had this area to pay attention to, which was 98.6 and the purple line 100k. You you know, because we've seen bounces off that area. We've seen difficulty in that area. So I'm not surprised we haven't immediately gone upwards, but it's also taking its time, okay? It is taking its time. But yeah, no, the 4 hour, it's a good balance, because the 1 hour, you know, sometimes it depends on how you do your analysis. Obviously, you can do then the daily and then the 1 hour or whatever. But normally for me, it's like daily, weekly. I'd rather do the 4 hour and trade it a bit longer time, you know, a bit longer, because the 1 hour can get a bit, you know, it's starting to cusp on that, getting a bit too much, especially on the 30 minute, 15 minute, unless you're trading really fast, which I don't really do a lot of fast trading. It just gets a bit much, you know, just all the time, moving. The 1 hour is kind of, for me, in my personal opinion, is getting on that cusp of, it's getting a bit much. But then on the 4 hour, like if I go to the 1 hour, it's like to get, like, in order for me to substantially give any analysis, I have to zoom out quite far. But again, if I was to really see the candles, what is there for me to talk about here? Okay, yeah, we've bounced from this high point all the way down to equilibrium down here. Okay, brilliant. It's amazing, yeah. But it's not, there's not a lot for me to, like, I can't talk about what we've done here. You know, I can't talk about this and go, okay, cool, guys, yeah, let's talk about something, and then wait till Friday for me to talk about it again. You know, it's not enough. Like, 4 hour is decent, you know, but again, the majority of my TA is on the daily, you know, something you can actually kind of look at. But obviously in this case, you know, I'd rather look at the 4 hour in this case, because, yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, so I knew this was going to happen. Anyway, let's actually look at this area, you know, this actual important area which we've had above us, which has kind of stopped us from going upwards, which is this 98.5-ish K area. Now, again, this isn't going to be exact. It could also be 98K here, 98.5, you know, this kind of resistance we've got going on here, which we've seen, you know, a couple times, you know, the kind of a bounce off here, a bounce here, this bounce here. I don't know what range I'm on, but you know, it's one of those cascading ones on these time frames, like, which line up pretty accurately, which is this difficult area about 90, well, in this case 98.4. The one we've been looking at on the 4 hour, which is 6561, is the 98,400 resistance, which is a bit more accurate. You can see these bounces, especially coming into this resistance area multiple times over, not be able to get above it, which I was aware of. And again, the next point to pay attention to, let me lock this long position so I don't keep on moving it. There we go. So yeah, so the main, apart from that area being the main one, I believe it's is it the third or the fourth, or the second or the third line? I think it's, okay, it's this one. Here it is. So the 99,129 instead of the 100K. This is then the next important area for the purple line, because remember the process in my, you know, methodology of these ranges. The methodology is you have to get above this, you know, this high area in this case, and then you have to surpass this line, which is the purple line, which is unfortunately being covered by the range above. But anyway, you have to get above this this line and kind of use it as a bounce. You know, it needs to be confirmed as an area where, okay, once you have that kind of support at the purple line, you can then come down to 99K or 98.4 in this case, but then bounce off it and then continue upwards. So once you do that process where you have that bounce, or you basically touch it on the opposite side, then that's when you're kind of in the next range, and you can start to use 98.4 and 105K as the next area upwards. So yeah, so again, this is on the 4 hour, this is on the lower range. So again, you know, there's going to be a lot, especially 101. This area here is going to be big resistance. Obviously, you can see in the previous kind of, sorry about that, that was really loud. Obviously, if we apply to where we've seen already, you can see massive, you know, prints in the equilibrium multiple times. Obviously, tried to dip below, came back above support, obviously flipped it, had a massive dump, which was our main dump, and then found resistance at it. And then from there, you know, this really good print at resistance came down, and now we're kind of, you know, purple line. And then obviously this is the flip side of what we've got going on here. You know, if we go to the 1 hour, which obviously, you know, those things. I think, where was it? It was here. Was it? No, it was here. Yeah, where was it, this one? Oh, this is still on the 4 hour, whatever. It might not be great detail, but whatever. At least I know what I'm talking about. Where are we? What am I back here for? Here we go. Okay. Here it is. Yeah, this is what I was pointing out. So in this area, in this case, where it's like, okay, we've dipped below, but we haven't had that print off the purple line. So that's one of those things. That's what my main thing, which I point out, where you have to have that process of flipping it and resistance or coming back to it to test it. You know, that is kind of the process you have to do in these ranges in order for it to actually be a valid kind of, okay, now we're in this range in between 98 and, you know, 91.8. So that's the kind of the main thing to point out. So obviously in this case it was this massive dump, and now again you can attribute it to the fact that we had a massive dump, and the only logical thing to do was that big retracement, you know, at a certain fraction back upwards, you know, from 105k. Now yes, you know, from here we can see this kind of, okay, since we haven't had that, you know, truly proper print at the purple line, we then were able to proceed back upwards above it, find resistance at equilibrium, and then this is kind of what I want to point out here, which is this really multiple prints, because again, this is going to be 4 candles worth from the 4 hour to the 1 hour, so there's going to be multiple kind of bounces within this kind of area on the purple line, and then this is when it got really bad, where we surpassed it and then printed beyond it and then came back upwards to test the resistance area, test the resistance, and then continuing onwards downwards, and this is then, since then, has us being stuck below this 98k range. So if you look on the daily, whatever, and look at a different range, it might just look like, you know what, I'll show you actually. If we were to look at the daily and our larger range, it would just look like, okay, well, we've come below, but you know, what's the deal? You know, we're above this purple line. What's going on? Well, on the lower time frame, it shows that process. You know, maybe not necessarily on the daily. However, you know, you can see we have had this print at it. We did have a print below twice now. We have had this print below at 96.4. However, you know, on the lower range, so I mean, so to finish off my point, on the daily, yes, you know, technically we do have this process now where we have technically printed below, but realistically we haven't had that true kind of print. You know, if we were to spend 2 days printing at 95 and then come back up towards 96, that's a lot more concerning than this, where we've kind of printed and then came back upwards. Because again, to have this really equal kind of candle movement, it could just necessarily be down to the fact that it was an unfortunate print. I need to mute my phone because there's just a lot of messages on. There we go. That's gonna. So yeah, so you know, this can be boiled down to the fact that it's, you know, we just so happen to come down and then we print on the 4 hour and then we're coming up, or print on the daily and then we're coming up. So it could be one of those. I mean, we could probably see it on the 4 hour. You know, this bounce. You know, it was we dumped later on in the day. You can see this print being at about 1 a.m. It was just one of those things where we've come down later on and then we just so happen to print on the lower range. So it does need to have that kind of process of being below and then bouncing and then coming down. You know, it needs to be a lot more pronounced than this. However, like I said, the daily doesn't show it as much as the 4 hour, because again, you know, sentiment cascades upwards kind of thing, where it's like, you know, the general sentiment across the board should realistically be what the weekly's saying. So if the weekly's in a downtrend, you can then obviously trade that. But, you know, if the 30 minutes starts to come positive, after a while, then the 1 hour, then the 4 hour, then the daily, then the weekly, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, okay, on the 4 hour, we've had that print below the purple line. We've had that multiple bounce on this resistance area at 98.4. We haven't had that, you know, print above the orange line, coming up above 99k and finding that print where we can then proceed onwards, upwards, you know, finding resistance here, continue onwards, whatever. But on the flip side, like I said, you know, now that we are below this range, we're now, instead of us just being, oh yeah, doing our thing, whatever we're doing on the daily, it's just us in between the, you know, equilibrium and the premium area. So now we're just in this premium area above equilibrium. You know, we're not below it down here at the discount area. So we're now just kind of on the process on the daily, where it just looks like we're kind of crabbing a bit. The context on the 4 hour is that we've actually finally printed below the range in between 98 and 91, and now we're in the premium area. So it's kind of we can see more of the process when we've gone to the lower time frames. So in this case, we can see, okay, what do we have, you know, as of right now? What's our kind of context? Okay, well, we have the equilibrium at 95-ish K, whatever. We have the resistance at 98K. So we know, you know, within our range, if we want to trade on the 1 hour, whatever, we know our range is going to be in between 95.3 and 98K. So if I was to take some trades on the lower time frames, if I was to take some trades on the lower time frames, I would be using this. So I'd be like, okay, whenever we're at a roughly 95k area, coming from a high, that could be a good time to get in, to then maybe take a trade at 97.7, 98.4. You know, those are good times. But again, I'm not trading that. I'm trading the longer weekly movement, which is up towards 106k, up towards that equilibrium on the higher time frame. It just so happens that we're in this range on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, whatever, and it's going to be a slower process. But again, it's one of those trades which happens on the weekly, and it's a slower process, and it's going to take its time to you know, come about, if you will. So what can I see so far? Well, again, we need to have signs of breaking up. Now, what do we have? Well, we have a wick below and a wick above. We have pretty equal kind of scenarios. Obviously, we have a wick, in terms of our wick below equilibrium, which the outer rim of equilibrium is this line, and obviously resistance being this line here. So we have wick out and wick out here, pretty equal wicks. So we've got quite an equal battle. We've spent quite a bit of time down here. We've spent quite a bit of time up here. In terms of how much time we spent, well, realistically, we've had quite a few highs up here. We've had main low, maybe 1, 2. Now this being our third one. So we've kind of got this, slow, steady process. Equal lows here. So we're starting to do some obviously higher lows, equal low. But then we've just got this process. So it's kind of like this rough outline here. So whether this gets tighter and tighter, whether that be one of these things which do be a dip below or whatever. I don't really know the chart pattern. I don't really know if that's I don't really look at chart patterns anymore. I think that's something though, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure that is like, yeah, here it is. So it's like the ascending triangle, whatever. So it's a bilateral pattern. Brilliant. That helps. Oh no, that's technically not it though, is it? Oh yeah, I don't care. Whatever. I'm not using chart patterns. I don't care. Let's just go back to what I had. Yeah. So like I said, we have this kind of dealing range in between 94.5 and 98.5. Obviously having one low lower and one high higher than this range. So as I see it right now, we're still just in this range. Whether this be okay, I haven't seen signs that we've gonna go up or in terms of the fact that we're gonna see higher than 98k or see lower than 93k. And again, I don't realistically think we're gonna go lower than 93k and come all the way down. I just don't see why we're going to do that. Again, if someone shows me their setup and they have that and I think it's valid, then obviously absolutely. But from what I have right now, in terms of where we are with the equilibrium and where we are, we're gonna need something to push us below the equilibrium, something in terms of to actually bring us down. And the sentiment, again, going back to what we have on the weekly, I think the next step is that high. But again, that's on the weekly. So that's going to take a week or 2 weeks to happen, which if you translate that onto the 4 hour is going to be a lot of time. So as I see it right now, I think the weekly and the higher ranges have more of a positive spin on them than a negative. So I think the resultant on this kind of thing we've got going on is a higher result where we come above 99k, find a support, and continue onwards towards 101k and eventually 105k, whatever. But as I see it right now, we're kind of in this range. So coming from where we are right now to take us into Wednesday morning, it will probably be a bounce off of this equilibrium coming up towards 97k again. So if you wanted to take a smaller trade, not financial advice in the slightest, then it would be this bounce from the equilibrium coming up again. Let me see the chat though. I think I see some people talking. See what's going on. There's potential for this to be the low of the week. Yeah, obviously it's Monday. I know it was a bank holiday. I believe that's also in America. So I suppose it depends. This is Monday. We've got a couple of days. In this process, it could be we could have a middle of the week high and then come down again. It depends on how fast we come down. It depends if we break out or not. But again, paying attention to what I talked about on the weekly. Let me unhide this quickly. I think it was this one, right? Yeah. Paying attention to what we have here. Again, we have this kind of bounce. I think this is the bounce. I think this is us coming up next. So in theory, this could be the low, and then we probably print off maybe at 96, 97. Hopefully, wishful, we could be at 98, 99k. However, in this process of, okay, this is the low, and now we're starting to come up again. This candle, I think, would be positive, up here, maybe towards 97k, and then we'd have a positive candle coming upwards like this. So yeah, this could be the low. Again, obviously it is Monday. I want to see what happens during the week, but realistically, hold on. There we go. Yeah, but realistically, we've still got time in this range. We've still got time in this range. In terms of where is this the low? I think so. I think this is definitely the low. I think over tomorrow and Wednesday, from today and continuing onwards, I think this will take us towards maybe middle of Wednesday. I think we'll have a middle of the week high here. Maybe we'll have a higher high or higher low and then continue onwards. Again, that would then pay attention to the weekly, so it could be one of those things where it's like this, and then we come up towards here, maybe bounce off here, kind of do our thing coming into Friday and whatever. That could be then our weekly print above. I think it was, what was it again? About 96k, which is about here. Yeah, I mean it's right here, isn't it? So I think definitely it could even be a bounce off of here coming up to here like this. You know, it could be that, for example. You know, obviously that's not a general trend, but in terms of us having a movement upwards towards 99k, yeah, this could be the low then. You know, if we have this bounce, so I would obviously hope so. I'd hope to see this being the low. It's just another. I think it's just another opportunity to get into a trade, whether you want to trade on the 1 hour or the 4 hour, and you know, long up towards 90, 97, 98k. Absolutely. Or if you want to take a longer trade, again, my entry is 95.6 32 currently, because obviously that was what equilibrium was in this range. Yeah, again, I could have waited. You know, I could have waited to 95.3. I didn't know it would come down to 94k. I didn't know it would come down to exactly 94.7. But yes, my entry is 95.6 to wait here. So, you know, I think I'm just back at entry again, finding that bounce off here. So it could be us, you know, waiting, again to go up again. I would obviously hope so, but again, to pay attention to the context we have on the weekly time frame, which is that we should have this bounce round about now, with this weekly finish. So maybe give it another week, and see how it plays out. I reckon over the week though, it will again be positive, coming up towards 98k, to back at resistance again. So yeah, I would, it would make sense that this would be a low, or this would be our low for the week. Again, we'll see how America does. I think, again, like I said, I think it was a bank holiday in America. Hold on. Let me have a look. Just see when the holidays are. Yeah, February 17th. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so yeah, it is a holiday in America. I thought it was. Washington's birthday, apparently. Shout out to Washington. And then Canada's Family Day. Yeah, 17th, Canada and the United States have their holiday. So yeah, it is American holiday. So obviously tomorrow will be the next trade from America. Obviously that being the see what happens when America opens. Realistically, to kind of see where our context is and if we're going up or down, it should be a positive thing. So hopefully it should be, a positive couple of days coming from obviously America and whatnot. But again, the market open for Asia, I think, is in the AMs for me. So it would be Tuesday AM. I think that's how it goes. I think it's like 3 AM or something. I can't remember. Well, UTC plus 1 AM. It's like 3 AM, 2 AM, 4 AM. I can't remember exactly what it is. So we'll see what they do as well. Obviously coming into it, I don't know if they're right and they're ahead. They might have already had it this morning. I don't know. We'll see something happen again tomorrow morning, and obviously tomorrow at 9 AM or 10 AM my time. 9 AM will be London, but again, the most important time will be America. But it realistically should be positive. But again, sometimes, obviously Asia can be negative and America can be positive. So, yeah. We'll see. But again, realistically, we shouldn't really see much lower than this. Maybe another kind of mini dip towards 95k. But again, we need something to happen in order to bring us actually lower. I really don't see us going any lower than this. I realistically don't. So, and again, this was like a dramatic equal low here. This is like the most dramatic equal low I've ever seen in my life at 94k. So again, to have this dump just be at 94, or this massive move downwards, because again, this is in 1 wick, be at 90. Actually, I want to see it's on the 1 hour. Yeah, this is pretty much within the 1 hour. It happens from 2 till 3. Well, to be fair, I think that is, if we've gone backwards, I think that is America open. So obviously America was negative then, but that massive open being negative led us to have an equal low and not actually get anywhere near, or not get at 93.783. Is good, So the best we had at having a really big low was an equal low at 94k, or equal low at the print. It obviously technically isn't an equal low, but in terms of these prints having that kind of low going over here, But anyway, I'm yapping about Bitcoin. My opinion, I think we'll go up again. Again, the current range you can see on the screen is 98,428, and round about 95.3, 95.7. So I think we'll go up over the week as well. Obviously middle of the week could be, because again this is the 4 hour, maybe Wednesday time could be our high, depending on what we do. But again, I don't think we'll go. If Wednesday was our high, I think maybe obviously retracing back a bit, it would be 97 or 96.5. That would be our next kind of low. I don't think we'll go any lower, like I said, than 95.2. But anyway, let's go on to Ethereum, which I think is going to be we're probably going to end up talking. There it is. We're probably going to talk about things. What am I saying? I've lost it a bit. I'm just still trying to build the chart up. We're probably going to say the exact same thing as we did on Monday, but again, we will see. Let me just move over to there. There we go. So I've got a scratch here. There we go. So in terms of what we had, I think my main point on the higher range, which was the 6561, was this that the blue line is more receptive to the price action, and that we have this. I think this is obviously we surpassed it. However, I think we will find support at 96.8, and also the other thing was, if we go to here, that we have equilibrium here at 95.2 to 96. So we do have equilibrium here. I think this is our low. I think obviously with Bitcoin being, I think that's its low. Solana is a different story. We'll get into it. But I think with Bitcoin, obviously we have our low at about 95-ish, 95.3. In this case, with Ethereum, I think it's obviously 95, 95.5, 96. But in terms of where we see right now, not that much difference, realistically. If it goes to the 4 hour, really not good, actually, to be fair, really good, because if I go to the actual line, which one is it? I don't think it's a 243. No, it's not 243. I mean, even in this case, the 243 is was an area of difficulty. Also, equilibrium here was an area of difficulty. You can see we surpassed. Purple line was about here. We then came below again. Bounced off purple line. Look at that. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. Bounce off purple line. It's one of those things. Bounce purple line. Bang. This is our area now. This is our area. We're now above 2673. Well, just to really, let's go on 1 hour. Actually, that's still a 4 hour. I really want to quickly draw another thing. Hold on, let me just bring up. This might be the 2813, I think it actually is. Yeah, 28. Oh no, 2817. Stupid. To line up with the 2817 we already have. Yeah, perfect. I think that's the line. I'm pretty sure. So in terms of this lower range, I saw a heart actually. Let me chat up quickly. India, hi, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Actually, I just saw another chat. Let me bring it up. KB ETH still rejecting off the 2021 EQ at 2790. Proves to be a pivotal level. Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, I mean, pretty similar to this EQ I've got here. And obviously, I think it was, which one was it? Oops. 2817. Here it is. Yeah, so obviously this is the resistance between 2.8 and 2.729. So kind of similar to what you had, that not being equilibrium, but on this range anyway. In terms of the micro movements, not the micro movements, but relative to obviously the daily and the weekly, the smaller movements for Ethereum. Obviously, in my case, the equilibrium is about 2.730 to 2.758. So pretty much very similar to what you have there as well, KB. Yeah, we have this equilibrium, obviously bouncing onto it, but it's still good though. It is still good. We have this uptrend. We haven't really done anything too bad. So obviously in this period for Ethereum, it was just not doing anything. But I think even though we haven't come all the way up, back to whatever we were at, we're still doing something positive. We're still doing good things for Ethereum, coming upwards, having these higher highs. Obviously not in this case actually, but in this case, actually this was a bit of a rough middle, but in terms of our movement, we're doing well. We're doing well. Let me get rid of that. So yeah, we're trying our hardest to get above equilibrium. But what's good is you can see obviously printing below here. We then started to print above into equilibrium at the high. Obviously came down, retraced. There's support at this order block from back here. Support this order block coming back upwards now towards equilibrium. I will have to go onto the lower time frames. You can see doing quite well, but again, still having difficulty at that higher range, trying to get above 2817, which we have on this 2817 here. You know, we do have that 2817 of difficulty. But again, coming back to it, let me zoom in. Finding support lower. Okay, 30 minute, aren't I don't want to look at the 5 minute. I'm not looking at the 5 minute. Let's go back to 4 hour. No, 1 hour, sorry, actually. Here we go. Yeah, so, you know, having that difficulty, found support at a higher point, and are now trying to get back above into equilibrium. So I do think very soon for Ethereum, we can see us coming into 2758 and actually finding support in this range up here and trying to come upwards again. But you know, as I see it so far, we're still gonna be stuck below it. But again, oops, I just deleted. Oh yeah, we had was it on the daily? Yeah, we had this rejection block actually. Let me hide this because this is ugly as hell. And while I'm at it, let me get rid of this red area. I do not want to keep that there. I just have all this crap on the screen. I do not want it, all of it. Yeah, on a general note, on the higher time frame, but I do think we're going to have this bounce off of 2678. Again, it wasn't a direct bounce, but I think roughly within these prints, I think we are going to see retracements quite soon for Ethereum. Because again, like I said, apart from the resistance we have down here about 2817, I think the 3000 mark and these equilibriums aren't very, very, very strong. So I think once we get past our difficult areas, about 2817-ish area to, you know, I think we have something at 29 as well. Once we get past these areas, I think it's going to be quite easy for us to get back above, trying to get, you know, in this area about 3,300, whatever it was exactly for Ethereum. So I do think once we surpass this difficult area, similar with Bitcoin, again, obviously I know in Bitcoin's case we are on a lower end, but with Ethereum we're kind of trying to get back above on the higher end. We still have a similar scenario where we have difficulty above us, and that once we surpass these sorts of difficult areas, we should see a bit of an easier movement up towards the higher points. So I do think, again, we are at a very important price for Ethereum, 2817, especially for me in my case anyway, 2817, which is obviously very similar to the 2790. You know, very close. You know, a lot of the range obviously BNKB have are quite close, or important prices anyway are very quite close, and don't really vary too much. So I do still think 2817 is going to be a really important price to get above. Not only that, but also the purple line, which in this case is going to be 3,200. But if you look at some of the lower ranges at 243, it is then 2835 is the purple line. So I think getting above these areas is going to be very important. Obviously we have 2,900. We've got a multitude of different ranges, especially on these equilibriums. You know, it depends on what range I look at. But, you know, relative to, the daily, we should realistically be looking at 729, which we can see these nice equilibrium bounces and whatnot. So there's just a lot of, it depends on, if you look at every single range on one time frame, there's going to be difficulty at every single stop. But if I'm looking at the daily and I'm on a 243, it doesn't relate as close, for example. Or like the 6561, relative to it, the next price is then 3,085 and then 3,471. It's quite far off. So realistically, the only things we can look at is 729, 2817 in terms of the relative kind of equal areas, if you will. Or so like 243, if we look at here, it's like, okay, yeah, cool. It was no difficulty for us to get below equilibrium, no difficulty for us to get about below 2673. But to compare it to the 1 hour and the 4 hour, the 243 is a lot stronger. So to look on the daily and an actual appropriate area, the next step is going to be 2,900. But we're still, relative to this smaller area in terms of this case, which if we were to zoom on the 4 hour would be a lot bigger. It is that difficulty at 2,750 at that equilibrium which we have. So not relative to the daily, we don't have that much difficulty, but still on the daily we do have kind of, we have our stopping point. We are starting to come up again. I think just on the 4 hour, we do have to get above that equilibrium on the 243. We do have to get above the equilibrium and try and get back above 2817. So as I see it, I think over the week with Ethereum, I think we'll just see difficulty at this equilibrium. but we are showing signs of trying to get higher into this area, because obviously this was worse, because obviously we saw that this was a lower high, a lower low as well, and it was a worse high. But in this relative case, we are seeing a higher high into the equilibrium. So it's showing signs that we're trying to break above equilibrium. And if we can continue what we're doing, we should see that break. So I think over this week, the results should be, we should see this break above equilibrium coming up towards 2817. So I think one of the highs could be 2817. Obviously, we have had a high at 2849. But in terms of our actual candles and where they are, I think our highs should be around 2817. But also, I think we could also see, where is it? We could also see, coming up a bit higher towards 2,900. So I think one of our next highs during the week could be 2,900, coming up to here, which will obviously take some time to happen. But relative, because the Bitcoin's really not moved that much, because our range, we've been in our range, but we've been stuck in it. Ethereum is a lot of a lower. The areas we've found difficulty at have been on the lower time frames. Obviously, in Solana's case, vastly different. We're at 177. It's a lot lower than Bitcoin or Ethereum. So I do think relative to each coin, there is going to be a bit more of a disparity. So I think in Bitcoin's case, it's going to be going back upwards again towards 98. But I think in Ethereum's case, it's going to be maybe about 2,900. I think we should see an area there. That's where I think we could see during the week. Hopefully, I'll be like to prove wrong. I would like to see higher prices, obviously towards 2,990 and printing at this purple line. But again, I don't think we'll see that during the week. I think that's a bit too much, considering I think there will be big resistance at 2,900. So yeah, because it was one of the stopping points for a really big dump we saw. Obviously not the biggest dump, but a decent dump we saw for Ethereum. So I do think 2,900 will be an area of difficulty for Ethereum. So yeah, I think over the week it will be coming up above here. So again, I don't think this is our exact low for the week. If I go to the 243, I don't think this is our exact low. I think we're trying to come up again. We might have a bit of a lower low here, but relative to the 4 hour, not really a lower low, because this was our high here. Or lower high, sorry. So we could maybe come back a bit more to about 2,700. But if you were to trade a bit quicker, I would wait for maybe a tiny bit of a lower price, and then us coming back up towards 2,700 or whatever. But I don't know how many tests it's going to take for us to get above equilibrium. If it was to be a safer trade, I'd rather trade within lower end to equilibrium. So maybe you do, not financial advice, but maybe you do a higher leverage. If you were to do leverage trading, obviously, you do a higher leverage, but you would trade in between these prices to equilibrium. Because again, we could have a scenario where we do break out of equilibrium, but it might not necessarily be the next test or the next two tests of equilibrium. So maybe during Wednesday, when I think Bitcoin will be at its high point, maybe that's when Ethereum would have broken out of the equilibrium, broken above it, and come up towards 2817, and hopefully so on and so forth, or beyond even. I should probably say, not so on and so forth. But yeah, I think if you want to trade it, probably take it on a lower time frame and trade in between kind of these areas and this kind of 2% mark, if you will. Obviously, could it go lower? Potentially, but I don't really think so for Ethereum. I think lowest price, because we have had that print at the purple line at 2688. I think lowest it could potentially see, if we have some negativity in the market, it could be towards 2672. But we're really trying to get above this equilibrium, so I wouldn't hold on to a 2673 visit. I really wouldn't hold on to that happening. I think the thing I'd be waiting for is that low, whether it be 2,700 or wherever you feel comfortable with. I think that's a lot more positive or I think that's where you probably realistically need to get into, rather than waiting for something like a really low price to get the best you can, because I do think we are going to see past this equilibrium decently soon, because we've surpassed this red area. The next step is now this blue line. Once we've done that, off we go. So I think maybe looking to get into Ethereum quite soon if you're not in it, whatever you. Cause a lot of my trades are kind of focusing on Bitcoin. Obviously, it's 10 minutes till 10 to 10, and a lot of the time is spent looking at Bitcoin. So a lot of time when I have trades, it is on Bitcoin. So if you have already taken Ethereum, if you're not in one already, I think looking to see if we retrace a bit more. But again, to actually kind of look at this, we've already had a retracement and the low. So realistically, are we going to see much lower? I don't think so. Like I said, I don't think so. I think 2,700 minimum is where I kind of see us going to. If we are to retrace a tiny bit more, if we have kind of this, and then kind of something like that, like one of the V things, whatever it is. Or in this case, it would be like that. But yeah, I definitely think, because it could be, an equal low thing. I think 2,700 would be the minimum we see, or max in terms of the lowest, if you know what I mean. And then that surpass, and so on and so forth. But again, that could happen over Tuesday coming into Wednesday. So I would, I'd be careful with Ethereum. If you do want to wait for a lower price, again, do kind of bear in mind it might not go down lower than 2,700, in my opinion. Anyway, we could do. Not financial advice. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to Solana because I am interested in Solana actually, because we have come down quite a bit. So let's go on the weekly and kind of zoom in a bit. So what do we have? Well, we had our weekly print outside of this range, which was not very good. Because again, it's now the Monday print. So during the week, we've kind of come down. So we've printed. If I was to look at it on Friday, I would have said, okay, well, we're pretty low now. But we've had that print out of this range. So I don't think this isn't very good. I don't think we should have that kind of. Well, actually, looking at it, we kind of have either, well, it's not gonna be it's not a double thing. It's not a double low either. But there is that one where it goes. I don't know if it has to come from a low, but it kind of has this triple bounce off the bottom and then goes back upwards again. But I don't know if it has to come off the top from us coming on from a lower point. So I'm not too sure about that one, but don't pay attention to that. But however, the 27 power free equilibrium has been proved to be a quite strong support point for Solana, especially at the dump we had coming down to this exact price. So Solana, comparative to Bitcoin and Ethereum, Ethereum being about $2,000, Bitcoin being about 91.2 in terms of its lowest price we saw in the dump. With Solana, it's actually come back to that price point, which is very interesting for Solana. Now, in Solana's case, different from Ethereum and Bitcoin, where Ethereum and Bitcoin both had equilibriums on the weeklies, which they were using as support and resistance, whatever. In Solana's case, on the weekly, we weren't using that. We had this uptrend, which we've now starting to break out of on the weekly. So a bit of a different story for Solana. So it does make sense that we had more of a chance of any to come down to the price we saw at the dump. So in terms of, obviously, whether this be, if you were in a trade or not, I think this is a low. I think this is a great low for Solana. So whether you trade that, go to the 4 hour, I think this is a incredible low for Solana. I don't think we'll see lower than this. Because again, bear that in mind, like coming from a $243 high all the way down, because it's like if I saw Bitcoin, it's like if we looked at the Bitcoin price and I saw 92 or 91.2 or 91.3, I would be an idiot not to say, okay, we're at the low we saw when the entire market fell however much. We're at that low again. Would I really recommend to any of you, I think we'll go down a bit more? I think based on what I have in front of me and whatever, that's kind of one of my safeguards when I look at the prices. Based on what I have in front of me, not financial advice. This is the low we saw, even lower than we saw with the dump. So will we realistically go any lower? Maybe a dollar lower, which we've already seen. I think we'll bounce up. Okay, so in terms of if you want to take a trade on the 4 hour, again, very similar to Bitcoin's case, where I think maybe during the week we come up towards here. Again, this could be a higher price. I do bear in mind we do kind of have this area here which we're bouncing off. This could be, if I get out the 729, maybe go to the rejection block, right? Okay. Like obviously, yeah, equilibrium. Here. Oh, this is what it was. Okay, cool. So similar. So I don't know if you guys were here. Obviously, you guys were here. I know you guys have been watching since the start of the stream. But if you remember back to Bitcoin, we saw that. I was pointing it out. This is why I was pointing it out, because it's something which can happen where you come below the. Actually, let me delete this white line, because now we know. So that's what's nice about these ranges is there's always there seems to be always. I feel myself getting some verbal spaghetti going on, so much near reset. I can't delete this line. There we go. So what's nice about these ranges is that normally is a reason for certain prices. Like if you see a common price 9 times out of 10 with these ranges, you will end up finding why. In this case, it's a 27 low. So, obviously the 1889. But if we go up maybe towards 81, we might see something similar, or the 243 might see something similar. But actually, we don't. Maybe on the 9. Okay, I don't have anything on the 9, but in this case, on the 27, we do see the supports and why. But again, paying attention to this area with this purple line at 186, this is quite critical, and this is what I talked about on Bitcoin. Because if we remember with Bitcoin, we saw, I think it was a dump as well. We saw the dump, and then we came right back up. But the reason why we came back up, and I pointed it out, was we didn't have the process and the very methodical bounce from the purple line and testing it as resistance to then finally come below 188. In this case, 188 to 162. So, it's one of those things where we haven't had that proper procedure. So technically, we have quite a high chance of us not necessarily being below 189 and us having potential to come back above it into 193, 197, whatever. Maybe come into equilibrium. So I think a max trade, I think a good trade could be, which is something, looking where we are right now, I might take a trade on Solana. Maybe coming towards equilibrium. Obviously, I'm going to have to, I'll look. Maybe this below, this will probably have to be below equilibrium. This being above. Again, it depends on how we respond, I suppose, off of the this area. On the 1 hour, actually, to be fair though, on the 1 hour we do see a nice bounce. Actually, before I advise, not financially advise, before I advise myself on anything, I do want to see how we were on Bitcoin, because this is quite important. Well, I don't even know what range we were on. It probably was the 6561. Where was it? Was it this one? Was it that bounce? I'm not sure. I think it... No, because that was the dump for the market. Is it this one? I don't think it was this one. Where did I look? Where did I look? We saw that bounce and then the retracement. It was this. Ooh, was it this? No, this wasn't it. What am I talking about? It comes below a purple line and it comes right back upwards again. So it's not this area. It's going to be in between one of these. Oh, where was it? I think I looked. It was on the 4 hour and I noticed it. I was like, oh, this is really good. How far back was it? Why can't I find this? It was here. No, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. Was it? What? I really don't remember what time frame it was on or anything. I just remember there being a nice bounce. And then seeing it and going, oh wow, this is cool. Was it? It wasn't. I don't think it was here. I don't think it was here. I want to show it, but I really don't know where it was. Was it this? No. I don't remember what it was. Oh well, I guess I wanted to see if on the 1 hour we did have those bounces, because again, this is not necessarily, where are we? There we are. Because yeah, on the 4 hour, it's like, okay, yeah, we aren't necessarily. These ranges are more on the 1 hour. You can see how well we, it's more detailed, and we do have that bounce on the purple line pretty accurately. So I don't want to say we could easily come above here. Okay, let me be a bit more safe with this. Let me be a lot safer. This is as safe as I'm going to bring it, because I don't want to... Not because, again, none of this is financial advice, obviously remember that. I don't want to misadvise myself on this. Let me just do it to where we are right now. I don't want to misadvise myself on any trade, okay? Just in case we don't actually, because this is a really nice bounce. This is like, okay, the procedure being, okay, bounce, come down, So in theory, we could see that resistance. But again, we are at a very low point for Solana. But if we pay attention to Bitcoin and Ethereum, those coins haven't moved that much. But in Solana's case, we've had a massive... Actually, wasn't there something happening with Solana recently? Like, in terms of... what was it again? Was there something going on? I swear I read something. Hold on, let me find this. Yeah, I can't remember why exactly. I swear I saw something about like something happening and it was like bringing down the price. But anyway, whatever. Let's not do that. But anyway, just to be safe, because if I advise myself and then someone just so happened to go, oh, this is a really cool thing going on, I'm gonna do this as well. Someone who's watching the stream, I wouldn't want someone to misadvise themselves. Me misadvising myself, because again, none of this is financial advice, by the way. Anyway, yeah, I'd rather not say that because we might not necessarily get above 189 easily, because we are in a case where this is a really nice bounce off the purple line and have come down. So this is this is kind of not textbook, because there's no textbook about these ranges, but if there was to be a textbook bounce, this would be it, where we've come down, surpassed the low, found resistance at it, come down below purple line, bounced off it, come down further. This is really good. So in theory, we are then now in between 161 and 189. Again, not to say that we are going to come to 161 or 162, just saying in terms of our range, we are now in this range instead of being in this range. You know what I'm saying? So pay attention to that. But yeah, it's pretty bad because again, like I said, like I was comparing to, there's so many lows here. There's so many lows at this support point and a lot of difficulty at this equilibrium. And now we've surpassed it and now come to the next equilibrium. So I think we'll have equal difficulty equilibrium. I don't think we're going to surpass 177. I don't think we're going to see below that. However, I don't think it's going to be as easy as of a job to come above equilibrium, the high in this case at 189. So in terms of comparing that to Bitcoin and Ethereum, having their their movement during the week, I think it's going to be quite similar for Solana. I think Solana's movement is going to be attempting to get above 189. So I don't think I'm going to see higher than $200 during the week. Obviously, again, that's quite a high thing. I don't think we're going to see 195 unless we have a massive pump and it surpasses it. So in terms of here, if I was to take a trade on Solana, it would be coming from this equilibrium area down here. I think the target, the safest thing I could probably say is going to be about 188. And in terms of a take profit or a stop loss, sorry, it's going to be somewhere in this equilibrium. Whether you think, because again, I think a lot of this is up to interpretation. I think whether you obviously I say you in terms of as a viewer watching this, if you think, okay, I don't have much confidence in where we are, I think we can go lower. You can place us lower if you want. I'm just trying to pay attention to risk and reward ratio, whether it be worth your time to trade Solana. Now I don't think it's going to be a straight line upwards. However, I think this is an incredible low area. Okay, so I think there's potential for us to kind of really quickly come back upwards and then do our thing. However, actually, hold on, let me look at this quickly. We have wicks into the breaker block area. We might find some difficulty there. It has to have a candle body in it. I don't really like that resistance. In terms of what we have behind us, do we have anything interesting back here? Maybe on the 4 hour, do we have anything interesting in these ranges, which we can pay attention to? Well, we could potentially see. Okay, well, let's look at a higher range. I want to see if there's any like interesting support and or resistance areas, which we're currently in now. I don't think there is really anything interesting. Let me go on the 243 though quickly. I think that's gonna be a bit better. So where are we? This is right. This is liquidity void in this theory, so I can't do that. My phone's kind of vibrating a lot. This is liquidity void in this range as well. So I think realistically 27 is the only thing we can look at. So I just want to quickly see if there's anything interesting to look at. Like I just said this, I don't know. Like resistance areas, support areas. There's these highs up here, which is just technically equilibrium. So we're kind of looking up here is where we want to see. So like something up here in these ranges. Do we have what is this? Is this on the daily? 1 hour? Because normally my theme was green areas are normally where breaker blocks are. Now, and this is quite far back, so I don't know about this, but let's just not a hope and a whim, but it seems like it's in here. So I just really want to quickly go back. I wish there was an easier way of doing this. Oh yeah, I could probably just zoom out what I'm doing. Why have I drawn this? This is useless. I know. No, I get it actually. No, it's pretty good. So I'm going to zoom this out a bit. I'm going to zoom this along and see if we can use this to our advantage. So we did see support at it. I think it was a resistance point, but we found support at it. So it could. I think this could be a positive breaker block. So if this is a positive breaker block, we could surpass this and use it as support. So now could be a good entry in terms of trying to back us up on a positive side of things. So then obviously it could be a surpass of this support, and then we start to do that. But again, I'd be careful. I'd really be careful. I do need to end the stream though. I've been 6 minutes over. I'm yapping a bit. I would be careful with Solana. I really would, because we are kind of in a bit of a shaky area. But again, on the flip side, like I mentioned before, I looked at all this when I just got into Solana. Where I just got into the chart anyway. This is the low point we saw when we dumped. That entire market dumped. So in terms of it, my thought process being, this is the lowest we saw. We realistically should see a bit of a bounce off this price point. Quite a bit of a bounce off this price point. So, but anyway, again, it's not financial advice or anything. I would really be careful trading anything. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking for Solana. I do the end stream though, because I've gone over a bit. So I do appreciate you all joining. Thank you. There's some new people in the chat as well. So shout out to you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream, wherever you joined from. If you joined 2 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, whatever. If you do want to see more, if you're like, okay, well, what about Bitcoin or whatever, I am in the stream. However, I did look at Bitcoin and Ethereum a bit ago. So if you do want to go back to the start of the stream, you can go watch that if you do like that. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for joining. Sorry I wasn't streaming Friday or Saturday. The markets were they're just really boring markets. I just wanted something to happen. And unfortunately, nothing happened. So this is the best I can do. I can't make the markets magically go up. So it's just going to take some time for us to happen. But again, like I said, if you're someone who trades the 1 hour, the 4 hour, there's enough range, But for me, in my case, my trade was something which takes quite a longer time to do. So I just wanted to see if I could wait for something to resolve. But anyway, I will see you guys Friday though. I'll see you guys Wednesday as well. We're doing another stream with the game, the chat game. So if you were there last time, do appreciate you guys joining that stream as well. It did get a bit messy because the timing got a bit off on the application. So I am trying to I have hopefully resolved that now for Wednesday. So obviously, if you weren't there, you don't know what I'm talking about. We are doing a bit of a giveaway on Wednesday. So I think if KB, you are still here, which I think you are. Obviously, I know you missed last one. I know you said you wanted to come see it. So we are doing another one on Wednesday. So, I would advise you come join on Wednesday. Even if, you're here for the first time, if you want to have a chance to win the giveaway, do come along on Wednesday. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you've got any coins you want me to cover, do go to the Telegram, do go to the trading area. Do put the coin in there. I have been looking at dupe recently, so if you're interested in looking at how dupe is, I can post the charts there in a bit. But other than that, appreciate you all. Good luck out there. None of this was financial advice, but yeah, thank you, and I'll see you Friday. I'll see you Wednesday. More importantly, Wednesday's gonna be fun. Wednesday's always fun. Okay, so I would advise come Wednesday, but if not, you do want to see another stream, I see you Friday. Thank you guys, and goodbye.